Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you, getting you ready for a big game tonight as the Blazers head to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Hopes of getting one step closer to getting the 8 seed still in play, but regardless, they are a play-in team, so there will be what is technically postseason action for your Blazers, and they're going to be in a situation where they're basically guaranteed a home game. You look at the standings, they got a little bit of a lead here, 4 games against Golden State. And even if they lost all 4 and Golden State won all 4, they have the tiebreaker. So Portland will not finish worse than 9th. And because of that, you're guaranteed a home game. Because if you finish 9th, you get a home game. If you finish in 8th and you lose, you'll get a home game. So it's a good spot for Portland to be in. A little bit of postseason action. And before we get to our audio here, we did get a text here who said, "Hey, Chris, I don't think you said anything about Sharp and Grant," which they did ask about. And you're right, I did not. I will tell you this. For Grant, I think there's a high probability that he's may have played his last game in a Blazer uniform. If you think about what this team needs to do in the offseason and any moving and shaking that could happen, I still think like Drew Holiday and Jeremy Grant are candidates for that. And I don't think he plays. If they make it to the first round of the playoff with a calf strain, we know those can keep him out for a minute. He's going to be out. For Shaedon Sharp, he's getting pretty close to, I think what the original idea was he'd probably be out till the end of the year, but he's been out warming up, taking shots. He hasn't been doing any 5-on-5 action, but you give that another week, you're in a play-in scenario, maybe he is ready to go. But for Grant, be very, very, very surprised if you see him again, just because I think there's a lot of moving and shaking going on, and that injury has terrible timing for a guy who was having a good year. Now, I said we were going to take the time on this show today, since we have extra time, to listen to Tom Dundon. He introduced himself to the Blazers in an introductory press conference prior to that game last week against the Pelicans. Kind of cool to have that experience of getting a new owner in town. Not something we're used to, but he's open, answered every question. Let's take a listen to the Trailblazers' new ownership group.
All right, well, thanks everybody for coming. I think the main message for us right now is franchise hasn't had as much success in the past few years as it did historically. And I think our expectation is that's starting to change and will continue to change. So I think the focus that's been the last few years around development, which is now around winning, right? And so we've tried to get this message through the last couple of days that was fun and probably necessary, but it's more fun to win, and it's more fun to do the things that lead to success. And hopefully we'll start creating more habits that those processes lead to the kind of winning that I expect and I think everybody expects. I want to thank the family that sold us this team did a really nice job, and it gets uncomfortable sometimes talking about what we want to do next. So I really appreciate everything the Allen family did. They've built this building is pretty neat, right? Like when you walk around it needs some work, but it's still something we can be proud of and then improve upon. And that's how I feel about everything they've done. Like they've created this legacy that now, with a little love and care, maybe we can keep making better and better. We spent some time with Joe and Dwayne and the people that work for the Trailblazers, and we're very fortunate. It's a really good group of people. They care. There's nothing I don't think we can accomplish if we just start focusing on a little bit of improvement every day. And I feel like all the pieces are here. There's not something I'm worried about. Now it's just the only thing I'm kind of worried about is the speed and pace and intensity at which we're about to get going might be a little different, and we just got to get people there quickly. I didn't grow up set out or intend to be in this position, so I want everybody to understand how lucky I am. It's the responsibility to make sure fans and the community are proud of what we do. And like I say, part of that's winning, but it's also how you treat your fans, how long it takes to get in the building, what the food tastes like. All these things are important, and I probably think about them more than most, and we won't stop thinking about it ever. We will continue to try to make the experience here great while expecting to win, and hopefully you'll see that over time. The last thing is I couldn't have done this without a couple of my partners that are here, and I'm really thankful to them. And I think as a group, we should be pretty powerful. So, this is one of my partners, Andrew, so I want him to say hello.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm excited. And as a new owner, we're 1-0, so let's keep it that way. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
And our local partner, who I think you'll see the most of, Sheil.
Thanks, Tom. I just want to say a few things and start with a few thank yous. I see some franchise legends here, so thank you guys. Thank you for everybody who came. I know you guys took a lot of time out of your busy schedules. Special thank you to my wife, Sejal, who's the reason we are in Oregon. Honestly, she's the star of the family, so I hope you guys get to spend some time with her. I really wanted to say two things today. The first is about the power of sport. I think folks often ask, why did you do this? And to me, one of the most special things about sport in this country, in this state, in this city, is the power to bring people together. It doesn't actually matter where you come from, how you pray, who you love, etc. All that matters is on game day, is that, in our case, it's all about the Portland Trail Blazers. And that is something we feel passionately about in this ownership group, and is something that we think we need right now in this country, in this world. The second thing I want to talk about is Portland. Portland is my home. Our daughter, Sia, who will be here today, she's taking her second nap right now, so actually we'll see if she makes it, was born at OHSU, not too far away. And this place, I know Tom might not think so, but I think has the best food in the country, and is just an incredible place to live. We called our ownership group Rip City Rising for a very specific reason. We could have called it other things. Could have called it Rip City Stabilizing. We could have called it Rip City Reminiscing. We called it Rip City Rising, and that was a unanimous decision all of us made. And it was because we believe Portland was a world-class city, and it can again be a world-class city, and then potentially ascend beyond that. We think the Blazers can and should play a small role in that, and we're really excited to do that with all of your guys' help. And the last thing I'll say is I have gotten, as somebody who lives in Portland, I have gotten to know these guys and some of our amazing other partners, Mark, Stan, Richard, etc., over the last year. And I can tell you, this is a group that you guys will be proud of. Tom came from nothing and risked it all to essentially achieve all that he has achieved. Andrew, to do what he did, when he did it, Andrew and Peggy, nothing short of extraordinary. And I mean, it's almost making me tear up to just talk about your guys' stories, but this is an incredible group of people that I think you will realize will fight every day to have your guys' back. So with that, thank you.
Thanks, bud. You're up.
All right, I'm back. Thank you all for all of that. We are going to open it up now for the Q&A. We have mics that we're passing around. If you want to ask a question, just raise your hand. I know our first question will go to Bill Oram, right there.
Hey guys, congratulations. Tom, you've obviously talked about the amount of work that needs to happen and has already started happening. How is this organization going to be different a year from today than it is right now?
That's a good question. So, like I say, I think all the pieces are here. I think just the pace at which we want to move and maybe the expectations probably are going to be different. I think we've started that, and there's no real secrets, right? Everybody talks about commitment and passion and structure and expectations and standards, and it's just how committed are you to that every day and getting everybody to do it. And I think, I don't know if you'll notice or not, but I sure hope you do.
Tom, hi. Jason Quick with The Athletic. I've got two questions for you. First, do you care?
in the list of things I care about, it's lower. But yeah, I don't think anybody who says they don't care what people think isn't telling the truth, right? Of course. But I think I care more about my character than my reputation, and I know what I do every day, and I want to win and achieve things without hurting anybody. And there's nothing about me that doesn't want to do the right thing. I do it every day. But if we have to trade a player, we're going to trade the player. If we need to make a decision that's best for the Portland Trailblazers, I'm going to make those decisions. That doesn't mean I'm going to love doing it. I mean, everybody I know that has whatever that responsibility or burden is, struggles with the hard decisions, and I do too, and I don't like it, but I'll do it because it's best for the organization.
The second question is, after the Clippers game, there was a video the team put out where Joe Cronin gave you the game ball, and you made a few comments, and I couldn't really tell, but I think you might have been emotional in your words. I'm curious, were you emotional, and if so, why?
Caught that. So
Yes, he was emotional.
yeah, like I say, I'm so lucky to get to do this, and I put the way I want our players to do things that are not hard, that are not easy, and you want to push them because it's difficult to play all these games. They make a lot of money, and that's irrelevant. What's relevant is how hard their job is. The travel's hard, the commitment's hard, and I think sometimes we take for granted, well, you're in NBA, you're playing pro sports, and you're so lucky, and they are. But at the same time, I really appreciate when you see that kind of effort, and that's all I want. If we lose and it looks like that, then I'll be happy. We'll try to get better players, but if they do that, so I so appreciate it, and I think that's the reason I felt that way is we kind of came in that day with, I'm not going to meet with the team. I don't do that. I do it once, say hello, and say, here's the standard. And it was probably coincidence, but when it looks like that, then that's what makes me sort of, whether it's emotional or happy but my whole thing is, okay, we did it. What's next? Like, we can do better again. So.
Hey, Andrew. This is questions for Andrew. Joe Freeman with the Oregonian. I wonder, can you tell us how you became involved in this? How you got connected with Tom, and why did you decide to get involved in this sports ownership gig?
I'm a fan, and actually, I was not thinking of this way because I don't live here, right? So, and as a Chinese, I love the fact we have a prospect in Hansen Young, so it got me thinking. And Tom is a winner, and he's done a wonderful job with his previous team. So, we have a winning combination here. And then NBA is a popular sports in China. There's a lot more influence we can make. I'm excited.
Did he reach out to you, or how did you guys connect?
We connected by someone that one of my team member.
Okay, next up, Sean Hyken.
Hey, Tom, you've owned a hockey team for about 8 years, and you've probably been studying the NBA for about a year, however long it's been since you decided you were going to buy the team. What are some things that maybe you found work in the NHL that you think are going to translate over to the NBA, and what are some things that you think you're going to have to maybe adapt and adjust as far as how you run the team and how you run the operations?
So I've been warned a lot that the players it's harder to get through. They make more money. They have a bigger impact on the game. There's less players. You can give the ball to the good ones a lot, and making sure they're all of the same character and effort. And sometimes that's harder in the NBA, I'm told. And so far, I haven't seen it. Like, I've been very, very happy with the culture of the organization. You've got a bunch of, I assume you all know this that are fans, but the players here work hard, they care. There's no drama. It's really special relative to what my expectations were, because I didn't know other than what I was told. No different, rumors, and you try not to listen to those things, but you can be impacted sometimes. But I don't think it's that much different than a company, than a basketball team, than a hockey team, right? You set expectations, you work hard, you want people with character and care, and I don't think there's going to be any difference between here, there, and anything else I do in life.
Next, Ann Peterson.
Hi, Annie Peterson from Associated Press. Tom, how would you describe your management style, and are you going to be a hands-on kind of owner? Are you going to be involved in the day-to-day, or are you going to delegate?
I don't know that it's not that cut and dry. You can be involved and delegate. You can be hands-on and also trust people. I don't trust anyone to make decisions without information and getting. Joe and I have had a lot of talk about this, and he actually does it. But there's coaches and there's scouts, there's analytics. There's a lot of people involved with running these businesses, making decisions. I don't expect to be the decision maker because the process creates obvious answers, but I'll push really hard to go through a process that doesn't leave anyone out and doesn't miss any variables.
All right, Mike Richmond.
Tom, I'm curious how you view the Blazers coaching situation with Chauncey Billups nominally employed and Thiago Splitter entering a decision coming up here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about the first situation. I wasn't here, and they don't really talk to us about it. It's none of my business. I think Thiago's done a really good job, and the team is sitting here with sort of this opportunity, and we'll get more information every day, but so far he's done a great job, and I'm curious to see how this goes from here, because my expectations are I want to win.
Danny Meringue next.
Tom, you've talked about how where the team is right now isn't where you kind of want it to be and where you can get it to. How do you get it to that spot? Is there a desire to make a big splash, which is what we've seen from a lot of owners over the last 5 to 7 years, and kind of what your timeline is to get to where you want to be?
It's really difficult in these situations to have an actual plan. I think our plan is to work hard, make good decisions, and Joe had a deal that he looked at the trade deadline that I was aware of that would have been what you described as a big splash. And if that opportunity exists, I'm probably more aggressive than most. If it doesn't exist, then you got to go about finding the pieces to continue to get better, and then decide if you can get good enough to win a championship, or you have to take a step back. So I don't think, Joe and I have talked about this a lot, there's no one way this is going to go for sure. If we get a star, we have a chance to win. If we can't find a star, then we got to add some pieces and hope some things develop. And if that doesn't work, then we got to try again with a new plan. And I think there's equal chances for all those things to happen.
Tom, Nick Krupke from KPTV. Why Portland? Why now?
They called me and said there was an NBA team in Portland for sale. And luckily I found a bunch of guys to help me do it, and that's how it happened. I wasn't out looking.
How you guys doing? Congratulations, fellas. Tyree Smith, Coin 6 News. But Joe, this is for you. We haven't had a chance to really hear from you for a while, so I'm kind of curious when Tom and the ownership group was named as taking over as the owners, kind of what was your initial thoughts, and do you have any kind of maybe feelings about what the future can be in terms of your position here as general manager?
Well, initially, when I first learned this was, almost a year ago, it was mixed emotions just because I respect Jody Allen and Burkhardt so much that it was knowing that they were leaving this organization that was a loss. But then, you quickly turn into okay, what's next? What's
what's this organization going to be now? And, as I've gotten to know Tom and his partners, incredibly encouraged, the skill set, the expertise, the drive, the passion, the will to win. For me, it's perfect. And, I think this organization is in an incredible spot to, have all these super capable people to help drive this train, and just couldn't be more optimistic.
Going to go back to Jason Quick.
Tom, so I filed my taxes the other day, and it seems like my money's got a lot of money going out to taxes. And it seems like, an elephant in the room is who's going to pay for the arena upgrades. And so far, it doesn't look like you have much skin in the game. It's all public funding. Is it your position that you're not going to pay rent on this, or there's going to be no relocation penalties? Can you answer to the public that you will have some skin in this game?
Sure. No one's ever told me I didn't have skin in the game before. We don't know each other very well. Look, we're going to negotiate and do a market deal, and they should do a deal. The people that represent the city and the county and your tax dollars are going to do a deal that's great for them, I hope. And then I'm going to try to do the same for the Trailblazers. I think we've got a good framework, and we're moving forward on it, but we're just going to get a market deal, and we're going to be fully committed to it. But how the form and structure of that is, there's a lot of work to do to figure out what that is.
This could be Bill Orm with the Oregonian again. This could be for Tom and probably Dwayne as well. Tom, in the story that Joe Freeman wrote today, you mentioned that you thought renovations on Moda Center should start this summer. Dwayne, we've spoken many times about a 3-summer timeline in 27, 28, 29 before the women's Final Four. I'm curious how you envision getting those renovations started this summer. Obviously, there's the lease that needs to be sorted out. Do you anticipate a lease agreement happening quickly? And then what is the current view of the timeline of those renovations?
It's unclear what the timeline is because of everything you just mentioned, right? There's some work to do. We've been here for 2 or 3 days now, so I desperately want to get started as soon as possible, because as you walk around here, you see things and you know what they could be, and but how we accomplish getting started now we haven't sorted that out yet. Dwayne?
Yeah, I think I'd just add the same. Like, obviously, we have to do a whole planning process. We've done some of that work already. But to have Tom and his team here with the expertise that they have, with the knowledge that they have, get some of the things done this summer, with the big plans still being on that timeline to be ready for Final Four.
Tom, right here. Guillermo Mota with KATU. Portland Trailblazers fans have been worried about this team, the rumors of this team possibly leaving back and forth. What is your commitment? And Shu, I would love your opinion as well as a local. What is your commitment to Portland Trailblazers fans so that they don't have to worry about their team leaving the 503?
It's interesting how when I bought the hockey team, everybody, because I was from Texas, I was going to move the team to Houston. It's all I ever heard about, but I never spent any time on that subject. And I haven't spent any time on anything other than trying to figure out the renovation and the lease, and it's kind of all I've focused on. So anybody who would, you're welcome to write what you want, because if we get attention for the Portland Trailblazers, I appreciate it. But at this time, all I'm focused on is how do we get a lease done and how do we get the building renovated.
And I'll just add, Tom would not have asked me to join this group had that been on the table. And so I just want you guys to know, we're optimistic people. We met with the mayor today. We know that the state has done some amazing work on this also. We're full speed ahead.
And there you hear from Tom Dundon and the ownership group. That audio is available. You can go to trailblazers.com. You can find it there. And, of course, you can listen back to this YouTube video of ours as well, and you can find it. Just some good stuff there from Tom Dundon and co. And I think he's going to be a great owner. It's just a matter of time and seeing it all play out. Hope that he can get this team back to being a perennial playoff contender, just like he has with the Hurricanes. I understand that things get a little dicey and they stress you out a little bit. This is territory we're not used to as Trailblazer fans. But hopefully the future is bright. I do believe that to be the case. We're going to take a break here on Blazers Game Day. When we come back, some NBA adjacent news kind of shocked the college basketball world today. We'll talk about that. And of course, it could have some impact on the Blazers. How so? I'll let you know. All that and more coming up here after the break on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Wrapping up hour number 1 of this special 2-hour show. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Hope you enjoyed getting a chance to listen to the new ownerships group introductory press conference. If you had not gotten a chance to do so yet, nice to hear from them. And one of the questions he was asked was about, the future of Chauncey Billups. He didn't have much to add, said, he didn't have a lot of information, wasn't really his business. Well, it is now because he's the owner. So you got to figure out what to do with your head coach, whether, what's your future with Chauncey, what's your future with Tiago Splitter, or any other coach that's out there. And I do know Blazer fans had long been clamoring on social medias and in different group chats that, you know where to find them if you're out there talking to friends. And, Mike Malone. He's a free agent coach. The Blazers should make that call. Mike Malone. Well, unfortunately, if you're still hoping that Mike Malone's going to come to Portland, well, let me tell you what, that's not the case anymore, because according to Pete Thamel of ESPN, Mike Malone has agreed to go to the University of North Carolina. Who saw that one coming? I think it was Alex Kennedy pointed out that his daughter is on the volleyball team there. So, a little bit of a family reason to come in. I do think the admins at UNC are probably Googling MLB managers who have won a World Series, because now they have a Super Bowl winning head coach for the football team and a NBA champion coaching their storied basketball program. So they just got to go find a baseball manager with some championship experience as well. But one of the hottest free agent coaches off the board. So Taylor Jenkins out there. I know a lot of fans would like to have him, and I am still firmly on the Tiago train. What I think is interesting is Tiago's coaching with Chauncey Billups' staff. What does Tiago look like if Tiago gets to hire his staff and actually implement what he wants and how he wants them to coach? We shall see, but the best way to do this would be to have an actual coaching search, see where it goes, but you can check Mike Malone off the list. Music is on, means it's time to take another break. When we come back, we get back into game day full speed. We'll hit you with a Rip City Rewind, tell you what happened in that game against the Pelicans, and turn our attention to the Denver Nuggets. Big game tonight in the Mile High City. Plenty of Blazer talk coming up here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Good afternoon. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. It's been a fun one so far. Plenty to talk about. Mike Malone going to UNC. My friend Keith jumping in the YouTube chat, having some fun. You can jump in there too. Go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the chat. You hit us up on the text line as well at 88528, where some people just aren't fans of Tiago Splitter, and that's fair. One of our texters says, Blazers need a coach who demands 100% effort on both sides of the ball for everyone, especially veterans, and who is a great motivator. When you listen to Splitter before and after the games, it's obvious they don't have that right now. I don't know if I read that the same way, but I've also been a long-time Tiago Splitter defender. I liked him. For those of you who know and listen to the show, you know that I loved the hire of him as an assistant coach. Very good basketball mind. Told most people that back when I was working at NBC and my job was to go into the visiting locker room, I never walked into a locker room that was more just attention getting, in the fact that I could just sit there and listen to them talk in awe because they were all just such basketball brains, than the Spurs locker room. I remember listening to Manu Ginobili in a media scrum one time in that locker room, just like in awe of this guy. Like I would have swore he was in Blazers film studies with the Blazers, because it was like he was just on top of it. And I like Tiago. I still think he's good. I think you look at the everything that this team's had to deal with the massive amount of injuries, more so than any other team this year, the amount of man games lost to injuries, and the fact that they lost their head coach due to an FBI arrest after the first game of the season, and you thrust a guy into there who was not hired as the head coach. I think Tiago Splitter's done wonderfully. Absolutely wonderfully. There are people who get mad at him, and I'm like, he wasn't even hired to be the head coach. He was hired to be an assistant and have one specific job, and then, few days onto the job, they're like, actually, here you go, big guy. The whole thing's yours, but it's also not completely yours, because there's a lot of question marks revolving Chauncey Billups and if he'll return or not. And yeah, you got his coaching staff and all this. Like, there's just so many little variables there. All things considered, I think Tiago's done great. And I was having this conversation in a Blazer chat today. Like, am I a Tiago defender? Yes. Do I think that he can be the guy moving forward? Absolutely. I just hope that if the decision is made that he is the guy moving forward, that they actually go through a coaching search, that they actually go through and say, okay, so Tiago's going to have a spot at the table, and Coach A and Coach B and Coach C and Coach D and E, F, G, and all the way around. We're going to have all our candidates, and we're going to actually do an interview process. And if you get through that and you still think Tiago is the guy, it's good for me. It's absolutely good for me. Now, that same texter chimes back in and says, when have you ever heard Tiago say something that makes you want to run through a wall, as they say? Running through a wall is cliche. You don't have to run through a wall for a head coach, and not every coach is a rah-rah, get you fired up guy. But if you have their ear and they respect you and they listen to you and you can instill basketball knowledge upon them, then that's great. Unfortunately, back in the day, it was a lot different. And this is before my time. You got to be at practices. You got to watch how practices were run. You got to hear the things the coaches said to players and really get that real in-depth idea of how they operated. And you don't get that anymore. When you get to a practice and it's just the end of it, you either get two availabilities. You get the end or the beginning, and all they're doing is shooting free throws. You aren't watching 5-on-5. You aren't watching their technical drills. You're not seeing the ins and outs of what is going on. And if coach says, we turn the ball over too much after every single game, that's not motivational. A coach's press conference is not make sure it's must-watch TV. Hey, I'm leaving the locker room. Everyone, I'm leaving. Make sure you turn on the TV and watch a press conference because I'm going to give you motivation. Motivation is given to the team in that locker room, not on the press table. And a coach's job is not to motivate us. It's to talk to his team. So I'm not worried about him saying that. And also, does coach say that we turn the ball over too much? Yeah, because guess what this team does? It turns the ball over too much. And is that on Thiago? No. Because what team was number 2 in the league in turnovers last year? Portland Trail Blazers. What team was number 2 in the league in turnovers per game 2 seasons ago? The Portland Trail Blazers. This is a long time thing. This is the system is not doing its job. But Thiago? And we could go back and forth on this one all day long, because I'm not going to necessarily change my view on him because he hasn't played out the way people want it. I think Thiago Splitter is a great basketball mind and still has the potential to be a great coach somewhere. He obviously did it in Paris. Different game, international game, that's for sure. But that doesn't lessen it to any extent. Now again, if you go into a coach's interview and you like I said, you bring in all the guys and Taylor Jenkins gets a spot at the table, and that's another guy that I really like. I just definitely think he got the short end of the stick in Memphis. But you sit them all at the table and you can afford Taylor Jenkins and he impresses you and that's the guy you want and you offer him, then you know what? Thanks for your service, Thiago, but I'm going to ride with the next guy too and give him a chance. I would love Taylor Jenkins. Taylor Jenkins is great. But I'm just not completely sold on the fact that Thiago Splitter is bad. I think there's so many variables in that this time. If you brought in Mike Malone, how much better is this team as is with the way they play with Mike Malone? We don't know. And that is a purely hypothetical. That's not me being, satirical with you. Like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah, he might make a difference in a few wins, that's for sure. But it would probably take him a minute. You got to instill your system, get everyone on board. Sometimes it's a little bit different. But I know Thiago does have that locker room. Locker room likes him. This team just doesn't have a ton of playmakers when it comes to holding the ball. Because gosh, darn it, turnover is going to be the death of us all. Like the death of us all. And they're not improving on defense under Thiago. Check the data. Okay, Thiago wasn't hired as a defensive coach. Their offense has been stagnant too, and he was supposed to be more of an offensive mind. But there's still variables to that. I watch a team that came into this season hoping to be a play-in team, and they are where they wanted to be. The coach was not going to be the difference between them being a play-in team and a championship team right now. This team was hoping that they were a play-in team, and most people were saying, gosh, darn, I really hope we don't have to do this tank thing again. I don't want to do that. Hoping they'd be a play-in team. And they're firmly a play-in team. They locked that one in a while ago. And to do that with a coach who wasn't hired as the head coach, you got to give him some sort of credit. Does he get a free pass? Absolutely not. But you got to give him some sort of credit for what he did. As a head coach, he's above 500. I like that. Now, you know what else I like? Blazers winning ball games. The Blazers, who are 8-2 in their last 10. Shouldn't have lost that damn Dallas game, though. But they took care of business, won an absolute beautiful game against the Clippers, one of the best games we've seen from them in a very long time. And then they come back home, play a Pelicans team that is not nearly as bad as that record wants to show. They got some talent on that team, missing some pieces. They got work to do, but excuse me. It is weird looking at that Pelicans team and going, oh my gosh, they had Trey Murphy, DeJounte Murray, Zion Williamson. Hey, I told you guys, I was watching DeJounte Murray going, gosh, he'd be a fun point guard to have, here if you didn't have the guard jam next year and, money withstanding. I'm like, the guy's, he's tall, he's lengthy, can bring it. Like, oh my gosh. They just haven't put it all together, but they got really good pieces, and a team like that can go out there and have good games. They had about a good quarter and a half for the Blazers, finally started to wake up. But the Pelicans had a lead at halftime, and you're like, what the hell's going on? What's going on? And then the Blazers did their best to flip it on their head. How did it all break down? Let's tell you. It's time for the Rip City Rewind. So what happened in that game? The Blazers came out. They grabbed the first quarter lead, 35-32. The Pelicans turned around, outscored them 33-25 in the second. And you are sitting here as a Blazer fan going, oh, no, not again. Oh, no, not again. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. This game played out exactly like we kind of thought it would. Me and Chad kind of called it. Not kind of, we called it. But it was just like the Washington game where the Blazers could not get the wheels moving in the first half, where it just felt weird. It felt out of sorts. You felt like they were dominating play, but the score wasn't such. They were trailing 65-60 at halftime. The Pelicans were shooting 51% from the field, 40% from deep. Portland was shooting 42% from the field. But it was just like not a lot happening on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, the Blazers weren't playing great either. Pelicans were hitting some really good shots. Trey Murphy missed a couple poster dunks. I think he got fouled, but that guy can fly. But then they come out in the third quarter. The Blazers hold the Pelicans to 16 points in the third quarter, while Portland scores 28 in that third quarter. The Pelicans shot 33% from the field, including 28% from deep. Meanwhile, the Blazers shot 44% in that quarter. In the second half altogether, the Blazers shot 48%, held the Pelicans to 37 after their hot first half. And then they walk away with a 118-106 victory. And if you look at the box score and break it down even more than just looking at who won what quarter and what the final score was, you see that the Blazers did what they needed to do once again on the glass. 25 second chance points to just 8 second chance points for the Pelicans. 39 bench points from the Pelicans wasn't enough to keep them in it. The Portland Trailblazers had just 24, but it was those second chance points and then points off turnovers. Portland turned the ball over 16 times. It is fewer than their season average because they don't hold on to the ball very well. But they turned 19 Pelicans turnovers into 24 points off turnovers, which was 9 more points off turnovers than the Pelicans scored. They also made a killing at the three-point line where they made 20 three-pointers to just 9 of the Pelicans. The Pelicans had 15 points each from Sadiq Bey and Zion Williamson, 19 points from Trey Murphy. Herb Jones had 9 starting at center. That's weird. DeJounte Murray had 9. Jeremiah Fears had 21 to lead that team off the bench. On the Trailblazers side of things, Toumani Camara, 23 points, 4 rebounds and an assist, 26 points from Denny Avdia. Also had 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Felt like the game where he's really starting to get over that injury and play like his old self, similar to that Clipper game. 27 points for Drew Holiday. A couple real big shots there in the fourth quarter. 14 points from Scoot, and then Matisse Thybulle, 13 points off the bench. Made some really good defensive plays the end of the night with 2 steals, but he was right place, right time. And then Chris Murray, I'm going to go out there and grab 3 rebounds. Feels quiet, but for some reason, every single rebound he gets just feels big lately. That bench between he and especially Robert Williams and Matisse Thybulle have been keeping this team in games. Really, you could look at Matisse, Robert, and those offensive rebounds from Chris Murray is a big reason they were able to upset the Clips. Hopefully they can get one of these next 2 games and upset the Clips again here on Friday. But that's a breakdown of what happened in that game. And now the Blazers get to take on the Denver Nuggets. And as one of our chatters said on the YouTube stream, I think it was for Fritz, nothing fun about playing in Denver. But are we Denver's trap game? Very well hope we are. But that's going to wrap up what I think of the rewind. Now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to hear from polarizing head coach Tiago Splitter, to our chatter who is sending those texts in. Thank you very much. I appreciate the back and forth. Mention this to you guys all the time. It's not about agreeing, because sometimes you're going to disagree. But if we can have a fun basketball discourse, I'm all for it. We're going to hear from head coach when we come back. We're going to hit us with a scoreboard report as well. Check out what's going around the NBA that might impact your Blazers. We'll be joined a little bit later as well by the boss man, Chad Doing, for Keys to Victory. All that and more here on your home of the Blazers, River City Radio 620. Welcome back in to Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Blazers on the road tonight to play in a house of horrors against the Denver Nuggets, team that just handed the Spurs, their third loss in the last 2 months. Spurs are playing incredibly well, and honestly, the Nuggets are as well, and it's going to be a rough one. The Blazers are definitely going to have to work to make sure this gets taken care of, so to speak. It's going to be a tough game. Now, you get through this game, then you get to face, you get to face San Antonio. But maybe at that point, San Antonio says, hey, we're calling off the dogs, making sure we're healthy going into the season because they're not falling any lower than second, and math's getting pretty tight on them getting to number one. So maybe that plays into the Blazers' favor. Unfortunately, the Nuggets still have a lot to play for because they are not locked into their seeding yet. They're tied with the Lakers, so they could still jump them. Still a lot on the line for both teams. Now, before we jump into Tiago, I do want to point out, because one of our texters was talking about, Mike Malone and how sometimes it's not always about just those X's and O's. It's your Jimmys and Joes too. Like, your roster matters. This roster is a play-in roster, still needs being built to get better. And then sometimes you have a good roster who's just a minute away from getting over the hump, and a good coach changes that. And that's not bad. I mean, look at Mark Jackson going and Steve Kerr coming in. Dwayne Casey to Nick Nurse. Not much else changed. Coaching changed a little bit. So you worked and you got the Jimmys and Joes in, and then you got the guy to get the right X's and O's. Sometimes you have the right X's and O's, and you got to work around the roster. But I want to point out something here, because I found this interesting. This was digging from Arshawn Hyken. He says, as coaching candidates take jobs, just putting this out there as something Tom Dundon said in 2020. And this was talking about the Hurricanes, obviously. He said, I'm more likely to give someone a chance that has the talent but maybe doesn't have the resume than just paying for the resume. Keep that in mind, because it was kind of talked about within certain circles that the Blazers weren't really going to be in play for a Mike Malone type. Now, I never thought Mike Malone would be interested in Portland, and UNC, they're going to back up a Brinks truck. That's a program right there. Most popular program in college football, attendance-wise. They lead the nation in attendance. They outdraw the Charlotte Hornets. Granted, we're talking about the Charlotte Hornets. Some of the best uniforms in the game, but they have not had a great history of playing. This year, though, different story. Look at them putting it together. Conca Nipple's been great. They're 43-36. They're going to the play-in. Still could get out of the play-in, too. 2 games separate 6th place and 10th place in the East. Things are getting tight. Now, I said we had to hear from Coach. It's one of our segments. It's time to head to the Coach's Corner. Let's hear what Tiago Splitter had to say following that victory over the Pelicans.
It just brings in general on defense.
I mean, he's the guy that sets the tone for our whole defense, him and Donovan. But I think, he's always an appointed attack there, and just do everything he can to get stops, to rebound, to push the ball, play the right way, to lead them on the timeouts. It's great to see a guy like that just flourishing, doing those things.
What about for him offensively? I mean, 6 threes tonight. Seems like the shots really come around for him lately.
Yeah, I mean, when he's playing with that confidence, just let it fly. Don't even second guess him. He's a zone type of thing, mental zone where he just hooping and getting stops, and it's amazing to see.
Is there a skill in drawing those offensive fouls and charges like he does?
Definitely. I think there's a skill, there's a technique, there's a desire, an effort to do that every night.
Put his name in the box?
He got the box, he got the ball, he got the whole thing tonight.
The ball?
Yeah, he bought a game.
Why is that?
He said, what's the record?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I think he sets the record of the NBA of drawing fouls or something like that.
You acknowledged it after the game?
Yeah.
What was the reaction like?
I mean, the guys just love him because he's, the ultimate competitor, and everybody sees it. And like I say, every time every pregame, I'm like, set the tone. You set the tone on defense for us. We're going to be good.
Is there part of his sort of style that's took you a little while to adjust to? Because, he's coming off a screen hard and, like, smashing into someone's shoulder and kind of he's sometimes behind the play because the way it was. Like, did it take you a while to be like, okay, this is what he does. I got to settle in with it?
Not really. I think when you see effort, when you see their eyes focus and just trying to win basketball games, you go with that. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he's a great defender. So
it wasn't like scheme breaking, and you were like, oh, come on.
No, that's part of the scheme. That's how we should defend every off ball screen.
Is there anybody you played with that reminds you of him?
Yeah, but you guys probably don't know him. Chapu Nocioni, Argentinian guy that played in the Argentina national team. He played for the Bulls a little bit, but played with me in Spain. Play hard, defensive mind, and could shoot the ball as well, like a dog on defense.
Same three guys off the bench, Chris, Matisse, and Rob, that kind of had the same impact that they had the other night. How big have those three been, just the bench in general?
Matisse is being unbelievable. I mean, he's plus 21, making shots, steals, deflections. I think he got 8 deflections, so he's a pass there on defense. Just like Tumani, a little different, a little bit more, mobile, a little bit more on the passing lanes and stuff instead of being physical like Tumani. So a little different, but also very effective.
And there you hear from head coach Thiago Splitter, and that entire press conference just very, very complimentary of Tumani Camara, who, holy smokes, he's had those nights still where, the offense isn't always there because that was never his calling card. But as of late, he's been putting it together. That 3-point shot is falling with consistency. He's scoring buckets when you need him to. And then defensively, he's still as good as advertised, leading the league, grabbing 300, not 300, triple digits with over 100, offensive fouls drawn. And the guy just goes out there and hustles. I love Tumani Camara. He's one of the best players on this team. Very, very interesting. I think I've said it since day one. He's about as fun, as much fun as I've had watching a player play defense since Wesley Matthews. Wesley Matthews is still the top of that mountain for me. Drew Holiday's up there, even though Drew Holiday is, he's not necessarily as good as he was like in that prime run in New Orleans. But that basketball mind of his and some of those fundamentals I still find very intriguing to pay attention to. But Tumani Camara makes defense fun. And that guy logs miles. Boy, howdy, does he move. Very big reason they were able to beat the Clippers, and a good reason they were able to turn it around and get that win against the Pelicans. Can he lock it in again tonight? Because the Blazers have to face a very, very tough Denver team, a Denver team coming off a 136-134 victory over the Spurs, and a Denver team that isn't going to mail it in because they still have plenty to play for because they can still get a higher seed in the playoffs. It's not locked in yet, so they got to bring it. And hopefully the Blazers could be their trap game, as one of our chatters said. Get on it. This is Blazers Game Day. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the chatter, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can hit us up on the text line, 88528. Where, again, one of our texters is just cracking me up. The struggles are real when you do the whole voice-to-text thing. I love it. Didn't mean to say that. The voice text heard different. That's why I can't do it. I don't know why. It never reads it right. It was like the old Simpsons reference, like, Newton, take this note. What is it? Beat up Martin, and it just writes down eat up Martha. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. And then he throws it. And come on, can't be a show here without a Simpsons reference. And then again, another one of our chatters. He looked pretty prime the last 2 games. Yeah, Tumani Camara has been amazing. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I'm gonna hit you with the scoreboard report. See what's going down around the NBA. Continue to talk about this Nuggets team. And then we'll be joined by the boss man, Chad Doing, here in a little bit as we head and tell you all what we think the Blazers need to do to get a victory in Denver. I am Chris Burkhardt. This is Blazers Game Day on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Having a little fun, even though the Fritz in the YouTube chat says you can't have fun when you're talking about getting ready to play the Nuggets. Yeah, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. But hopefully you can play spoiler tonight. You can be the one who comes in. You're the trap game. Especially after you get the letdown of you went out there and you went toe-to-toe, overtime, beat the Spurs. Those next games can be letdown games. Kind of saw it with Portland, kind of sluggish in that game against the Pelicans after an absolutely massive W against the Clips. And if that's the case, if Denver comes out for any reason slow, you hope that the Blazers are pedal to the floor because they got to take advantage of that. What else is going down around the NBA though? Anything that might impact your Trailblazers? Let's find out. It's time for a scoreboard report. I'm listening to our friend Uncle Blazer. He called in a few games ago. Said, Chris, you're doing a great job filling in for Chad. I love it. You've done great all year. But then he's like, you do talk a little fast. I got to slow down a little bit, not get so tongue-tied. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do because you think you're going slow and you're still going fast. Radio's hard. Now, let's take a look around the NBA, see what's going down in the association. You got a couple games in action, a minute left in the first quarter. The Knicks 29, the Hawks 29. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has 10 points. 1 minute left in the first. The Pistons 24, the Magic 28. Paolo Banchero with 10 points early. Those are the only two games being played right now. 3 other games going down tonight. You have Cleveland taking on the Grizzlies in Memphis. And then you have the 76ers taking on the Spurs. Big game because the Spurs hold a small sliver of hope of getting to the number 1 seed. Currently 3 games back. Basically, what they need to do is they need to win out. And they need Oklahoma City to drop 3 of their next 4. San Antonio needs to at least win 3 of their next 4. Unfortunately, the Oklahoma City Thunder don't lose 3 or 4 games that often. They have not lost 4 games in a row since December of 2022. Still a sliver of hope for the Spurs, though, because they do hold the tiebreaker. But you'll watch that one because if that basically eliminates them, if the Spurs lost tonight and basically get eliminated from that chance of getting into the number 1 seed, then maybe they sit those stars against Portland here in a few nights. All things that could play in here. Got to watch it all as the Blazers hopefully play a good game tonight and still cling on to hope of getting the 8 seed. This NBA scoreboard report brought to you by our friends at McCord Vancouver Toyota, where they live by the slogan, we make it easy. Check out their inventory right now at vancouvertoyota.com. The Fritz is really messing with me in the chat. He made one comment. He said, get some sunshine, Portland. Plant some tomatoes. Reminding me that it is absolutely beautiful out there today. I looked at my thermometer on my car. I was like, high 70s? Time to put the winter pants away. Those wool-lined Kirklands. Yep, I'm going to have to retire those for a few months. Wore those today. Instantly regretted it. Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful outside. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. This is the type of day where, maybe you got a TV out back. Take your computer, go out back. You watch this Blazer game out on the back porch because it is absolutely beautiful outside. Enjoy it. You know what else is beautiful? The boss man, Chad Doing. He's beautiful. And they're going to have him join the show here in just a few minutes. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's time for our keys to victory with Chad Doing as we continue to get you ready for Blazers versus Nuggets here on your home of the Blazers. First City Radio 620. Welcome back into Blazers Game Day. Chris Burkhardt here with you, getting you ready for a little Trailblazer versus Nugget action. Got to give Brendan some props. He's back there working feverishly, just trying to get the boss man to even acknowledge that we exist over here in the studio. It's like, I texted him. He'll hopefully get back to us here soon. But did he forget about us like he forgot about Brendan that one time he filled in for me? We shall see. Regardless, Brendan, I hope you're ready because it's time for our keys to the game. All right. Well, what the Blazers need to do to win all starts with what happened last time these two played. And you got to go back to February 20th in a game that was UGLY. The Blazers had no alibi. They were ugly. Yeah, they were ugly. Hey, my daughter's a cheerleader. Give me a break. But it was a game that the Nuggets outscored the Blazers 157-103, including a 32-18 fourth quarter, and a night when the Blazers could not get a rebound to save their life. 60 rebounds for the Nuggets, 36 rebounds for the Blazers. That was an ugly game. You talk about getting that early season victory over the Nuggets, and then you get that performance right there. And then you get to play them again at the end of March. And you hope to play better, and they did. But the Nuggets still got away with a victory, 128-112. But the last two games have basically been domination from the Nuggets. And in that last game, the difference between the loss in February and the one there a few weeks ago to end March was the first half. Well, the Blazers stuck with them in the first half, matched them bucket for bucket. Things were looking good. It was a sit there. You're watching that game going, it's just a matter of time before these wheels fall off. They can't sustain this for an entire half, can they? It was 75-69 in favor of the Nuggets at halftime. 16 points, 7 rebounds for Donovan Clingan, 18 points from Jamal Murray. Cam Johnson had 14. Nikola Jokic had 13. And then in the second half, the offense for the Nuggets did not stop. The offense for the Blazers did. 24 points in the third, 19 points in the fourth. Now, they weren't as bad on the glass, so they rebounded there. No pun intended. But other than that, you're like, come on. How do you stop this team? The Blazers had 10 turnovers, so it wasn't even like they were turning the ball over like crazy. What happened? Defense was lacking. The Nuggets shot 54% from the field. They went to the line 13 times. They made 12 of them, but they were 49 of 90, including 18 of 46 from beyond the arc, 39%. Blazers were just 32%. 0 block shots. That doesn't happen very often for this team. Defense. They matched up well with Denver enough to match them shot for shot in the first half. But as the game went on, the inability to get stops against it, and it wasn't even the fact that the Blazers defense is just terrible, because it's not. It has its ups and downs. But that Denver offense, prime, tops in the league, absolutely shut them down. No matter what the Blazers do, couldn't get a stop. You cannot stop Nikola Jokic. You can only hope to contain him. But when you have Nikola Jokic and you have Christian Braun going off and you have Jamal Murray and you have all these guys who can get you. You had Peyton Watson, who was making a return from a hamstring injury, drop 14 points. Denver has weapons. They have a chance to still end with the 3 seed, depending on what goes on with the Lakers, who will be without Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic for a minute here. But the Nuggets come into the game tonight averaging 121.6 points per game. A, that's a lot. B, it's the number 1 scoring offense in the league. And the team that the Blazers will play following this, San Antonio, number 3 in the league at 119.8. So the team takes shots, they make shots, they average shooting 49% from the field and 39.6 from beyond the arc. That 39.6 from beyond the arc, number 1 in the NBA. That 49.4% from the field, number 2 in the NBA. This Denver Nugget offense is elite. Elite. And so the Blazers have to somehow match that. That's hard to do. Now, the Blazers come into this game. They didn't get a block shot in that game, which is odd. You look at that. No block shot from anybody. The Blazers come into this game number 7 in the league in block shots, 5.5 per game. Defensively, they got to be locked in. They got to do everything they can to make it hard for Denver to get their offense going. And even if you make it hard, Denver will find a way. Because now they take a lot of shots, they make a lot of shots, they score a lot of points, and they're top 5 in the league in assists. A lot of that led by Nikola Jokic and just how darn good he is on that side of the ball. So this is just an elite offensive team. Their defensive inefficiencies will lead to possible playoff losses for them and will make it harder to get past teams like San Antonio and Oklahoma City in a playoff series, but their offense will almost always keep them in a game. Defensively, they struggled to stop guys like Victor Wembanyama. 34 points, 18 rebounds in that game that Denver beat San Antonio a few nights ago. And defensively, that's not what they hang their hat on. Spurs shot 47% in that game. 33% from beyond the arc. But why did Denver win? Because Denver shot right at their average of 49% from the field and 41% from deep. And this is the Blazers team that, as we all know, because we monitored it all year, one of the worst. They are second to last in the league right now in three-point percentage at 34%. And they take the third most in the league. They let it fly. Denver is 20th in the league, but they're efficient with what they take. So again, I think this all comes down to, can the Blazers get the defensive stops? If they can knock this offense off for even a stretch where they can take advantage and they get on, an 8-0 run, 10-0 run, that's going to be the type of thing that keeps the Blazers in this game. The ability to go on those little mini runs, get stops, because the tough part about this Denver team is if you knock them off and their foundation gets shaky, they'll get back on and they'll get refocused. So it's all about taking advantage of those times where they get off the rails just slightly and then really honing in, get your offense going, and hopefully leave Ball Arena with an upset. Hopefully the whole game is as good as the first half was last time. All right, music means it's time to go. But you stay here, because coming up next, Chad Doing, who is too good for us today, he'll have the Trailblazers pregame show across the Trailblazers audio network here in about 5 minutes, and then he'll pass the mic off to your radio voice of the Blazers, Travis Demers, for Blazers vs. Nuggets tip-off at 6 p.m. here on Rip City Radio 620. And of course, when it's all said and done, keep it locked in for the fifth quarter, where you know the drill. Hopefully, we're breaking down a Trail Blazers victory. Blazers Nuggets tonight. Rip City. I'll talk to you after the game.